This is Daily Blast Live. We're talking about what you're talking about. Real, honest, entertaining, live. DBL starts right now.
3, 2.
Welcome to DBL. It's Monday, October 12th. I'm Jeff, here with my friend Tori.
Hi, guys. Hi.
Al, join us from home, buddy. What's going on?
I'm doing good. How you feeling, baby?
Feel good, feel good. I think Tori summarized it up for all of us. Happy Monday, everybody.
Happy Monday,
So you
everyone.
had a cup of coffee this morning.
Let's have some fun. And speaking of fun, comedian Bill Burr is being criticized for his opening monologue. Weird transition.
Yeah.
I thought it was fun.
It worked.
On SNL, where he talked about everything from the coronavirus to Gay Pride Month. Watch.
The month of June is Gay Pride Month. That's a little long, don't you think? For a group of people that were never enslaved. Dude, black people were actually enslaved. They get February. They get 28 days of overcast weather. Sun goes down at 4 in the afternoon. Everybody's shivering. Nobody wants to go on the parade.
I love Bill Burr. Bill also took a swipe at white women, who, I could say that.
Yeah.
Finally something I could say. Who he says single-handedly hijacked the woke movement. Take a look.
Just to refresh your memory, the woke movement was supposed to be about people of color, not getting opportunities, the at-bats that they deserved, finally making that happen. And it was about that for about 8 seconds. And then somehow, white women swung their Gucci-booted feet over the fence of oppression and stuck themselves at the front of the line.
I love Bill Burr. I don't know if this is, changes anyone's mind or not, but Bill Burr's wife is someone of color. I don't know, sometimes that changes your mind. But Al, you're our resident comedian, man. Listen, I thought it was hilarious. I think comedians are funny when they do touch that, offensive borderline. That's where I think the comedy lies. What do you think, not only about Bill Burr in general, but just about comedy in general and people wanting to cancel it because they're offended by it?
Jeff, it's the world we live in, and it's something as a comic, and especially as a commentator as well, that I live in fear of every time I go up. Comedy will win in the hearts and minds of the audience, but we will always lose to the pen, because the pen has something that comedy needs to survive in its context. We've lost context in this country. So when you take comedy and you write it out in black and white, you're like, oh my gosh, I can't believe this was said. How did they sit there? But when you watch the clips, when you watch not just a clip, but the entire set of an hour, a half hour, or 10 minutes, you get the context in which it's said. But people make money from blogging. So their job is to take things that have to have context out of context and then make that person look like the second coming.
Yeah, go for it, Tori.
No, it's just, I think what's so ironic is he was talking about white women taking over the woke movement, and then white women on Twitter were like, we hate Bill Burr. Like, it was sort of ironic the way it all
Absolutely
happened.
ironic. I don't think people who do that
even get it. I completely agree with you. I thought Bill Burr was a George Carlin, very much like a Pryor. He just is a social commentator, and he says it like it is, and we all laugh because we know that's so true. I really wanted to get to this Kate McKinnon part where she broke the fourth wall for the first time, and like I've ever seen on SNL. Take a look and we'll talk right after.
Blood pressure. Blood pressure.
Kate, are you okay?
I'm obviously not.
So first of all, I love that she broke character and just looked out. Yesterday was World Mental Health Day, and I just want to say, just for anyone out there struggling, I struggle every day. Just know you're represented, know you're being heard. It's not normal what we're going through. It's chaotic, and that's why we have people like Bill Burr and Kate McKinnon to help us laugh.
Yes, and speaking of that, our next story revolves around that.
Interesting.
But my favorite part of SNL is when they break character. Like Jimmy Fallon was notorious
that's all he
for
does.
doing that.
Sounds like
it just makes me laugh, and I thought Bill Burr did a great job. There is, if you guys haven't seen SNL, there's a mafia segment at the end of that.
So good.
That kind of mocks our society right
culture.
now. So check it out. It's very funny. It'll put a smile on your face, or maybe it'll make you hate everybody. You never know. All right, but to Tori's point, Meghan Markle is opening up about how online bullying has impacted her mental health. Meghan and Harry were guests on the Teenage Therapy podcast in honor of World Mental Health Day on Saturday. Meghan mentioned she was the most trolled person in 2019. Let's listen.
8 months of that, I wasn't even visible. I was on maternity leave or with a baby. but what was able to just be manufactured and churned out, it's almost unsurvivable. That's so big, you can't even think of what that feels like, because I don't care if you're 15 or you're 25, if people are saying things about you that aren't true, what that does to your mental and emotional health is so damaging.
Now, Tori, I want to go right back to you, but I have a lot to say on this subject, surprisingly, and but I want to hear your thoughts because you just kind of mentioned it before I kind of give my opinion.
Very quickly, I'm happy.
No, not very quickly, because I think this is very important.
It is,
really.
and I wrote a tweet out that said, I've been on Prozac for 20 years, and I cross-stitch, and I meditate, and I garden, and I do that, and I fight for my life every day because I've been in a hole, and everyone who's been in a hole knows exactly what hole I'm talking about. I've been depressed, and anyone, whether it be Meghan Markle or someone you dislike, talking about it normalizes it and takes the stigma out. I got so many comments thanking me, so many older people in a generation before me saying they didn't feel comfortable talking about it. So I'm glad she's just opening up about mental health. I think Princess Diana tried to go there, and then tragically we lost her too soon. So this to me is a welcome discussion.
Yeah, and Al, quickly, what are your thoughts? Well, again, not quickly, because this is very important. What are your thoughts on the whole thing that she's talking about, social media in general being trolled?
Jeff, there's a documentary right now on Netflix. I believe it's called Audrey and Daisy. And recently, Tori, please correct me if I'm wrong. I believe Audrey, it's about online women that were online bullied. The woman that was online bullied killed herself, I believe, 2 months ago. And her Netflix documentary about online bullying is still on the television. This is a real thing. Bullying, I've seen bullying just from the old school when it happened between school hours. And I know the people that it happened to, and they are not well to this day.
Yeah.
In their 40s because of what bullying does. And honestly, if we want to keep it 100, I told my ex-wife, I'm fine with our kids not being in school right now, missing middle school, because I feel like it does that much damage.
Wow.
I don't want kids. Sometimes kids just pick a kid and they're just like, let's just mess with this kid every day for 6 years and see what happens.
And then think of social media.
Kids are vicious,
exploded.
kids are cruel, and it's just a part of life. I don't know why it's been happening since the 1800s. You watch movies that happened in the 1800s and some kids getting chased home from school. It's just in our nature, and it's really sad. Jeff, please expound. I'm sorry I talked so much.
No, that was good. The 1800 blockbuster running home from school. No, but I'm just doing it to make light of this whole situation, because you're exactly right, man. But I think socializing is very important for children. I don't want to go too far into that, but I know what you're talking about. As far as this online thing and where we're at as a society, it affects me. And I read positive things every single day to balance myself out, because sometimes I go down that rabbit hole online, much like Meghan Markle did. And it does affect you no matter who you are as a person. Speaking of documentaries, there's a great one out called The Social Dilemma.
It's unbelievable.
That's on Netflix right now, talking about how social media influences your life. Right now, your life is being 70% taken over by an algorithm. Watch that one. A great book is The Coddling of the American Mind. It talks about how suicide is up in teenagers. This is a very, very serious thing that affects even me. So suicide in teenagers, but as a grown man, it affects me, and it also affects networks, companies, businesses. If you get a group of people who ultimately hate themselves inside, they could control a decision whether you're canceled or not. So this is a big thing, not only for your mental health, but for your future, for your education, the way kids are learning in school. Professors aren't allowed to talk about certain subjects because other kids get offended by it. This is a whole thing that I'm really passionate about. I read a lot of books about it. I know we got to go, but I'm very passionate about it, and I think this is our future. I worry about myself. I worry about my children.
It's interesting you bringing up, because you're like kind of a macho dude, like an alpha male. For me, it's different, but for you saying it affects me, even me,
and I want to make that point clear, because I do these things every day to balance myself out. So you saying it might be like opening up, but I'm being honest with you, it affects my mental health. I love to write people back on Instagram, but there's so many negative comments on there that it pushes me away, and I don't want to be part of that world anymore. Right. Because I think ultimately those people that send me those messages are damaged themselves. Wow. Right? Wow,
that's deep.
Sorry, I don't mean to get deep on a Monday, Al, here, man, but this is something that's very passionate to me, and having children, I would assume you're passionate about it as well.
Yeah, Jeff, and it's just like sometimes you just, there's a saying in comedy, when you're on stage and you're killing in front of 300 people, the only thing comedians remember is the one person that's not laughing. And it's the same way with your comments. You get 900 people saying, Jeff, I love you, and Jordan, your kids are beautiful, you've done this, you've helped me with my life. But there's one person that some people just write you something mean, like you look fat today. You're like, what? Like, some things just really, I think that what you said just shows that you hate women. And you're like, what? Like these things that are said to you as emotional, passionate people that wear our hearts on our sleeves, it does affect us. Yeah. So I'm glad you said that, Jeff. It's even when you're taking steps for it not to affect you, it affects you. So imagine if you were 14-year-old you.
Yeah. Well, sorry I talked so long, and I'm just very passionate about that.
Great.
We like to have fun on here, but sometimes you just got to face the facts and talk about what's on your mind.
And good for Meghan Markle to go there.
Yes. So, I'm happy for her. All right. Let's get into maybe this is weird as well.
Yeah,
well, a woman in Scotland is branding herself a real-life Eminem stan.
Oh, God.
This kind of revolves around what we're talking about.
Yeah.
Nikki Patterson has 16 tattoos of Eminem's face on her body, including her fingers, and 28 more that are Eminem-themed. She's all in. She set the Guinness World Record for having the most tattoos of the same musician. Nikki says she became obsessed with the rapper after hearing his song Stan, which ironically is about a man who claims to be Eminem's biggest fan. So this kind of brings us back to where you were saying how ironic and hypocritical of some people online. I'm not saying this person's any of those things, but she's now the stan. Yeah,
what's interesting, and stan is taken a new verb. If you guys don't know, I stan you means like I really love you. I'm a huge, huge fan, and it comes from that song. This girl stand like really hard.
Yeah, like you stan Thomas Jefferson.
I stan Thomas Jefferson a lot. Stop laughing. We all should.
Is this taking it overboard or good for her? She's all in.
I mean, look, you have to find something you're passionate about in this life, Jeff. And if, Eminem is hers, you know what, I would put her in the so far harmless category. Let's hope she just keeps her love on her side of the ocean. But you know what, I guess, it gets her attention. And if he's really guided her life in that way, I guess you gotta, fine, do it.
Commitment, something we're lacking.
Commitment.
Obviously.
Discipline.
Not her.
That's right.
All right, Al, don't go anywhere, buddy. Pink's husband, Carrie Hart, is teaching their kids how to shoot. Are they old enough, or should they be taught personal protection at a young age? And as we go to break, check out our studio. Most of our coworkers are working from home. We miss you guys. We'll be right back. Welcome back to DBL. Pink's husband, Carrie Hart, posted some photos of his kids learning how to shoot. The pics show his 9-year-old daughter, Willow, and his 3-year-old son, Jameson, firing a gun. Carrie captioned the post, writing, "I'm a firm believer in teaching my kids to shoot, but more importantly, how to handle a firearm. No better sound than the bullet of your kid's gun plucking a steel target at 30 yards. Have a great weekend, everyone." I talked a lot already, but I'll jump in again. I think it's very necessary if you're going to have guns around the house to teach your kids how to use those guns. So I'm all for this video.
Okay, look, I grew up in an anti-gun household. I'll be very honest. I've marched for gun laws to be changed. I've never touched a gun. I've never really seen a gun. So to me, it's shocking. But I do understand that if I have guns in the house, wouldn't it be smarter to actually know how to use them? 3, though, seems way too young for me. 3, too young. 9, maybe because they're getting to have some small motor skills. 3 is insane. And by the way, just so you guys know, Carrie Hart says he is a strong Republican and that he hates Trump. And so he is trying to say he is not for, the Dems do not want to take our guns away. He's a Republican who hates Trump. We wanted to make that known.
All right. Al, where do you stand on this?
Well, I wasn't ready for the Trump stuff. You know, I just think at 3 years old, it's just a lot. You know, just in terms of the kick, I have fired a gun. I've been in many shooting ranges. You know, and so I do believe, like you said, Jeff, we are in a gun culture. We are a gun country. We are a country awash in guns. Guns are not going anywhere. So I do think that learning proper safety protocol and techniques at an early age is important. But I think three is so, it's way too young.
Yeah.
The noise could really, I think it could almost damage your eardrums, but I don't know. I'm just saying I think that's a little young, but I think double digits, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, they're wearing protective headgear. And usually people who are passionate about guns, again, I'm making a broad statement here,
right,
but usually they're very safe with their guns,
very
right? Their first thing is hey, listen, this is a very dangerous thing you're about to hold, so you have to treat it with respect. Everyone I know, gun owners that I know, do that with their guns. And I think it's better, this is me personally, and this is where we're at in America though with the divide. If I have a gun in my house and my kids find it and I'm not home, I want them to respect that weapon and know it's not to be played with, as opposed to stumbling upon it and thinking it's a toy and something go terribly wrong.
However, and I will just add this, some little kids have, and this has happened many, many times, have fumbled with guns, shot a brother, a sibling, someone in the house. You're much more likely to shoot someone if you have a gun in the house, especially if you teach the 3-year-old how to use it. So I'm wondering if perhaps you should have kept that away in a safe and not even shown it to the 3-year-old, because those accidents do happen.
Tori, those stats are completely accurate, but I will push back and just say this. In a perfect world, yes, your kid will not find a gun. But in reality, in terms of the number of people and the number of guns, chances are a lot of young kids will find a gun, so we want them to be safe.
I just don't want them to know how to use it at 3.
The statistic of getting killed with a gun in the house and not having a gun in the house and getting shot is fascinating.
You're the worst.
Mind-blowing statistics. 0% chance of getting shot in the house with no gun. Coming up on DBL, BET is amplifying black voices in a new filmmaker series that puts women in the driver's seat. How it's making a difference. Next.
Welcome back to DBL. When it comes to telling the stories, BET is doing something special. They're putting Black women in front and behind the camera. Earlier, Lindsay spoke with actor Mckinnon to tell us more about this very special filmmaker series.
Hi, Mark. Welcome to DBL.
Thank you. I'm honored to be here. I'm honored.
So I have to start with Chadwick Boseman because you know the world is still mourning the loss of such an amazing actor. And you both went to Howard University's theater school. So I want to ask you, how has he impacted your career?
Wow. First, I have to say my heart and prayers go out to everyone who was close to Chad, his family, his friends, even the fans. We all were impacted greatly by his success, but also by his advice. You know, he was really good at just helping the actor really understand what you should really go for.
So Breast Cancer Awareness Month is just getting underway, and your upcoming limited series on BET Her, The Waiting Room, is about that a little bit.
The cancer has advanced to your brain.
I'm gonna be here.
Can you share your personal experience and how you relate to this message?
Yeah, absolutely. You know, my grandmother, she had died from breast cancer, and so I dedicated my role to her as I prepared for it. BET Her did an amazing job of doing this initiative to talk about breast cancer and mental health issues and how it impacts women and the Black families.
Now, this series of short films was directed by Black women, which I love, and you got to work with Miss Cheryl Lee Ralph, who I had the opportunity of meeting earlier this year. What was that like?
Oh man, working with Cheryl was so much fun. But I love how much she affirmed you, how much she inspired you. One of the things that I loved about Cheryl was her famous words, "Thank you." Like, she always did that when you understood a point she was trying to make, or it was a take that she loved, you would hear her go, "Thank you," really big. So that's something that I always hear to this day. And she was really good at bringing this vision, this story to life, and to help us reconnect with why this story is important to us.
Now, you also play a cop in Blue Bloods, and so I want to know, with everything going on, how does it help you relate and understand police or the experience of policing in this country?
Well, it's so tough because, you know, you understand like why the police have to do what they do when it comes to protecting and serving our country, but also the daily decisions that they make. Every day is different. Every day is something that is new. You know, you can train all you want to, but when it comes down to the on-the-spot moment, these officers are in the moment. No, it doesn't mean you have permission to kill on the spot because you are afraid or you feel like you have a reason to kill. But I really think the officers, the ones who I was able to talk to as I prepared for the role, were really able to give me perspective. I didn't agree with everything, but I at least understood why their mindset was the way it was when it came to on-the-spot decisions.
Well, thank you so much, Mark. The Waiting Room premieres on BET on October 17th. I can't wait to watch. We'll be right back.
Promotional consideration is brought to you by
Welcome back to DBL. Deep Convos today, huh?
Deep combos. And I just think it's important when we talk about mental health, like you said, don't go quickly. Take your time.
Yeah, absolutely.
Slow down
and
and
the gun
find
issues, I thought we had some real serious
We
conversations.
sure did. High five. Air high five.
Let's have some fun tomorrow.
Okay.
All right, guys. DBL's new every day. We'll be back tomorrow, same time, same place.